You're not losing games because your team's bad. You're losing because you can't snowball your lead. I've reviewed over 1,000 mid laners, and almost all of them make the same small mistakes that kill their carry potential. And you are doing it too. So today, I'm breaking down 3 real games to show you exactly how you're throwing your own wins and how to fix it. Most mid laners are able to get ahead, but struggle to translate their leads into victories. And there's a few different reasons why that's the case. In this first example, we're going to be taking a look at a platinum Orianna player that struggles with what I call lack of intention. That can be because of many different reasons. And we're just going to play out the VOD and analyze what is exactly is going right and what exactly is going wrong. So initially, right, we see that the game state is not in the best position, but honestly, we're still doing completely fine as Orianna. We skill incredibly well as Ori, so the game is by far not lost. Now, we identify that we are laning against Malzahar, so it's really important to get up the push, and it looks like we're getting a nice little gank from the BR here, which is eventually leading to a kill onto the Malzahar. And this is huge, because this is going to allow us to now have a massive lead in the lane, and we need to now translate that lead towards other parts of the map, otherwise we're not going to be able to win the game. And this is where this player is really struggling with. And the reason why we have lack of intention is because we are not properly gathering information. We are now in a massive lull state, a period in the game where there's not that much going on. And we can then ask ourselves the questions, what we want to play for next and what type of strategy we can employ to win this game. And this is going to be insanely crucial as a mid laner because you have the access to both sides of the map. You have the ability to get prio and impact wherever you want after pushing a wave, creating a number advantage. Mid lane is really strong in that regard. So what we got to do whenever we move out from base as a mid laner is identify on which side of the map we do want to play and on which side of the map we don't want to play. So in this specific situation, what we identify is a few key pieces of information. Number 1, the next dragon is spawning in 1 minute. We also recognize that our bot lane is doing pretty alright into the enemy bot lane, as Real's already got Trinity Force, while the Caitlyn doesn't have her first item completed just yet. On the flip side, our top laner is completely running it. 0-4 versus a Mordekaiser. You don't want to be playing on a Mordekaiser lane regardless, because he can just ult you and make it a 1v1 instead of a 2v1. So top lane is lava, is how I like to call it. Top lane is out of the question. What we want to do is we want to play around this next dragon, around our strong bot lane, and play towards the strengths of our champions. Now, there's a really big problem happening at this sequence, and this is what a lot of players struggle with, is identifying all of this information correctly. So there's a few set of questions that I'm asking myself. Number 1, what's the next neutral objective? Number 2, can we fight? AKA, which side is strong and which side is weak? And you always want to play around your strong side, because whenever you're going to be fighting, if you're ahead, it's just really easy to win. Now, there's a massive issue here, and that is that our Briar is actually clearing towards top side, towards the Mordekaiser, away from the dragon, because we are not pinging our Briar that we need her on the bot side, and Briar is now ganking top. Guess what's going to happen? Briar is going to get killed, Yone is going to get killed because this Mordekaiser is too strong, and in the meantime, we are leaning towards top side, we die on mid as well, and now the game just went from winnable to completely lost in the span of 30 seconds. It's pretty crazy how all of this information could have already predicted all of this to happen. What we should have done instead is moving on from base right here. We should start pinging the next dragon, identifying that it comes up, signaling and nudging our BR towards the bot side of the map. Then we want to get vision control around the bot side of the map after pushing in Malzahar. And then we can lean heavily towards the bot side so we can contest the push a little bit safer without being under massive threat from the Jarvan gank, which is of course a pretty threatening champion. And that's then going to allow us to translate our lead towards players that are actually strong, instead of potentially flipping a fight on the weak side of the map, which the chances of winning these fights are just really, really low. And remember, climbing a League of Legends is all about making the best quality play that you can make with all of the information that you can gather at a specific time. So with the information that we can gather, we identify that playing bot side is the highest percentage play to make, and playing top side is just completely game losing. And that's why this player is currently still in Platinum and not Emerald yet. For this next example, we're going to be taking a look at a Diamond Zoe player. It's a coaching VOD that I reviewed this week, and he struggles with very similar problems. We're going to gather the information. We identify that Grubby's is up, Dragon is down. Top side's even, jungle is doing fine, we're ahead, bot side's losing. So that means that we want to play around the Grubbies on top side. We want to push the mid lane wave, get top side vision control. It's very simple. Now, what this Zoe player does is not this. Why? Because he doesn't value the information. He doesn't know what questions to ask himself in the lull state walking back from base, which means that he's not gathering the information that his bot lane is losing. He's not gathering the information that Gribby's is up. And therefore, he has no direction. He doesn't know what to do. And in this case, it basically showcases in him trying to just solo kill the enemy laner. He doesn't know what to do. So the only thing that he does is he's just trying to fight the hell out of Syndra. And this is what I see in so many players' reviews, by the way. Everyone, when they don't know what to do, they just start fighting. And then because they fight, they get into this negative feedback loop where because they're fighting, they now don't have time to think. So they're not gathering information, leading to really awkward positions in the game here. And what you find is that he's now fighting to the death, literally, warding bot side, no clue that the Grubbies is up. And because we're permanently fighting with Syndra, we're flipping and eventually we lose. It would be so simple, like brain dead. It's like a 95% success chance. If you just push the wave, ignore the Syndra, get topside vision control, and then you're going to just play the Grubbies, wait until Kha'Zix resets, and then rinse and repeat the exact same situations by just playing with your jungle. You don't have to solo kill the enemy laner to win the game. You need to use your priority and translate that pressure throughout different parts of the map. That's our job as a mid laner. In this next example, we're going to be taking a look at a Grandmaster Jayce player I reviewed this week, and he has some issues with tempo. And I'm going to make it really simple for you guys so you guys understand what you can do in your own games to prevent situations like these from happening. Now, what we identify is that we're playing Jayce versus Orianna. It's not an easy matchup, Jayce versus Orianna. What we got to do is we got to get the push and then look for good quality trading opportunities where we can either poke her down or just fly at her with her Q. If we don't get those trades, she's going to slowly burn away at her health, and we're actually going to slowly bleed out. Not a good fave. So we get a nice little gank from Shaco, and in the lull state, in this moment where he can think, he identifies that dragon is now up. So he's thinking about the dragon, and therefore he's warding bot side. So he's got the right idea here. He's also going for a nice little poke, and this means that we now have full lane control. You see that he's not fully thinking about, hey, I need to kill the Orianna. No, he's thinking about using his priority to try to get something done on the map. And you see that after pushing this wave, he now pings assistance on the dragon. Potentially, he can use his priority to get there, but unfortunately, Rek'Sai already got it. Now, no problem at all. We should now be thinking about the next play. So we got to identify, okay, what's the next neutral objective that we want to play for? In this case, that is going to be the Grubbies up in a minute. And this is a pretty important timer in the game because we're talking minute 7 in the game. What do we know about the minute 7 wave? It's the final non-cannon wave. That means that the next wave is going to be a cannon minion wave. And if we want to hard push that one, it's going to take quite a bit of time. Plus, if we want to be early on Grubs, we ideally have a push out, forcing someone to respond. We can then get some good quality vision and block off the area, making it hard for them to enter, getting us a good position around the Grubs. Now, Sammy, in this case, makes a massive mistake with pushing out this extra wave, which leads to him now taking a reset later than the Orianna, which in turn doesn't really even translate into any favorable items or gold league because he's leaving the base with 240 gold. We didn't need that extra wave for any big spikes. And this now leads to us being late to the play because Orianna now gets the wave out. She can move in first. And guess what's going to happen? We're going to lose control of this neutral objective. Duh. So what happened is that we didn't truly deeply identify the timer of the neutral objective, which leads to us not having control and vision over the choke points, making this fight a lot harder than it should be. Given the fact that we are stronger than Orianna, we should be able to create a positional advantage and win. Now, there's a little bit more to this sequence, where he eventually takes a fight 2 versus 3 with the Poppy around, and he completely ruins his tempo again. So this guy had massive tempo issues, because instead of fighting this, what he can do is just go to mid, push out, and now get new vision towards the bot side of the map. So we can get a good, favorable positional advantage once again, and just sacrifice topside in that case as well. We got 2 Gribbies already, we're totally chilling. But he's just wasting time right here. Now we're late to the lane, and this eventually leads to positions where he's also going to take this Grubby, and this leads to positions where eventually Zoe gets killed because he has 800 gold, he hasn't taken a reset, and it's just a complete shit fest. We just butchered the tempo in this game. And that's just unacceptable for a Grandmaster player. Like, we can't accept this level of sloppiness when it comes to timers around the game. So the first thing that we need to identify is that this player did not properly identify the wave that he needed to reset on to get the access to the Grubbies, which is the 7-minute wave in this case, because the next one's a cannon. And you want to have a push out before, because what's going to happen is that you're going to then come back before Orianna on this next wave, because you have controlled the lane. You can reset before she can clear her wave, and then she resets. So you get access to this wave first. You push this one in with full resources, with full items, and then take a nice little ward here on the top side, which means that you can then, after pushing the wave after that, sit in this bush and force her to respond and just block off this choke point. And if she runs through, she's going to get poked, she's going to get hit. You got a positional advantage that you can turn into an HP lead. That's why getting the push and the priority and the vision control is so incredibly important as a mid laner. And what he didn't properly recognize was the exact timer and which wave set that he needed to push out for that to properly happen, which led to him being slightly late in the position to get really, really awkward. Now, I'm going to show you an example of what good quality assessment around the next neutral objective looks like, what good quality vision looks like, what good quality communication looks like, so you can get your team towards the next play consistently, so you can translate your lead and snowball without any problems and without any risk of losing games. What we identify, moving from base, we have a lot of time to think about the game. What is the next objective is what we got to ask ourselves. We can play Dragon, we can play Rift Herald, it doesn't really matter. We need another objective for the feeds. Now, what I actually think we should do is, I think we should play the Rift Herald. Why? Because our bot lane is completely running it down. So if we're going to be playing Dragon right now, there's a high likelihood we're going to lose the fight because the enemy bot lane is actually quite strong. So as you can see, I'm constantly pinging my Tryndamere that I want him to go away from bot lane, moving towards top side of the map where the Rift Herald's at. I'm leaning towards top side, clearing vision, and also placing my own vision on that side of the map. And the reason we can't play bot is because the enemies are just way too strong. And even though Tryndamere is trying, I'm guaranteed that we can't win a fight on bot. Hence is why I'm so adamant in my communication, getting him over towards the top side. And eventually, he finally moves, and we get the Rift. Very high percentage League of Legends. Ah, come on! We got him, boys. We got him. So I'm going to give you guys a step-by-step system you can use to snowball your leads consistently. Step 1, find your first best lull state to gather information. You want to ask yourself the question, what the next neutral objective is, where your jungle is going, and who's strong and who's weak on your team. All of the answers to this question is going to basically give you an output of understanding on what side of the map you want to be playing on as a mid laner. You then need to place your vision towards that side, and then you want to communicate towards your team that you want to be playing there and you want them to be playing there as well. And if you can do this consistently, in 80% of the cases, your games are going to go smooth as butter. There's going to be, of course, a few situations where, for example, my example, it's going to be a little bit slower that your jungle is going to respond or someone's going to get picked. That doesn't really matter. There's always going to be some small details in League that sometimes ruin your initial plan. But what we can do is the exact same sequence. We can just ask ourselves the exact same question again. What's next? And you run by the exact same sequence. And sooner or later, it's going to work out. Now, if you do this consistently, I can guarantee that you'll be able to snowball your leads a lot more consistently. But that's not just going to win you the game. You need to have a good understanding of what climbing and mid game is all about. And for that, check out this video right here.